has possibly been years since I've done this video, and I thought, weird you for me to sit down and tell you my unpopular opinions about luxury fashion. Some of them are maybe a little bit unpopular. Some of them are unpopular. Some of them may be more popular, but I just wanted to talk about them. So here we are, guys. If you're new here, my name is Cassie and I'm a self-diagnosed luxury addict. I put out videos on Mondays, Wednesdays and Fridays, so if you like luxury fashion, then you're probably going to love it here. So head down there, subscribe, turn on the bell, become a member of our luxury addicted family. When are we going to rehab? Never. Jacquemus is boring now. Okay, so glad I got that off my chest. Here's the thing. Good for him, he's doing great things, he's a golden boy of fashion, truly, right? But let me just... Cassie, get to the point. So, I used to feel as though the brand was very, like, young and fresh. They were always pushing the boundaries, okay? Doing something just a tad before everybody else jumped on. And I used to be so excited to go on Vogue runway for all of the pictures and go through each look from the fashion show and be like, ooh, that's cool, that's interesting, blah, blah. Even, you know, even if it wasn't my style. Now, I cannot be bothered. I do still think that there is the odd piece here and there that I like or I gravitate towards, and like the double heels I think were great. The silver Le Ronde Carré, yeah, obviously I bought it. They also had that like that dress that I really liked that Kylie Jenner wore at their last show or whatever. Great. But generally I know exactly what's going to come out with the clothing. I know that it's going to be no stretch. It's going to be pretty thin, unforgiving on my body type, and it's just like, it's just become a little bit, it's become predictable. I think that what they're doing great is the marketing. I think they've got one of the best fashion marketing teams, and they know it, because they actually put out like a hilarious little out of office on their Instagram, which I thought was very clever. Right, because marketing they do very well. They've done their collaboration with Nike, all of that. The mainline stuff is just, it's not tickling the bones. I have no urge inside of me to see what they've come out with. And it's hard because I'm like, I don't know if that's a me problem, like have I just sort of like moved on to not be interested in this anymore? Or are they just in fact boring? I don't get the Miu Miu hype. Okay, we know. Everybody seems to be struggling except for Miu Miu and Prada, and like the odd others, right? I don't get the Miu Miu thing. It's very, you know, you've got the short skirts, you've got the little schoolgirl thing. I don't mind the little school. I love a pleated skirt. I love a pleated skirt. Give me a shirt and a jumper. Nice, right? I don't need for half my ass to be out here clapping on the streets, okay? And that's what that's giving. Most recent collection, I've said this before, reminds me of sort of a Hollister back in the day. That's not really a part of my life that I would like to revisit, you know? Much like my Jacquemus thing, every so often I'll see a piece and I'm like, yeah, that's cool. Like they've got this really cool sort of like oversized zip-up jacket that's got these green embellished flowers on it. Great, of course I like it, okay? It's fabulous, it's over-embellished. And then I look at the price tag and I'm like, but not for you. We all sort of have our thresholds or how much we expect to see from a price tag from a certain brand, okay? So you might be like, I'm willing to spend $3,000 on a bag from Gucci, but not on a bag from Burberry. But I'm willing to spend $2,000 on a Burberry trench, but I'm not willing to spend $2,000 on any clothing from Loewe, right? Something like that. Like that jacket, how much would that jacket be actually? You know what, let me really get riled up about it. The bags as well, the bags haven't really been doing much for me. Nice sort of simple bags, it's not my vibe. Whilst I am not surprised that it's doing well. I actually am surprised that it's doing well, let me not lie. I'm just like, oh, so there's a lot of people that are interested in this. Okay, all right, show me the door. Right, denim coat, Miu Miu 4000, how? It's just like a beige coat, just this sad mohair blouson jacket. Most of this is very simple, very basic, fun cuts. If you want something cropped, Miu Miu's the place. If you want something with a feather trim, go to Miu Miu, you know? But I'm just like, I'm here or not? Yeah, that's a nice little denim zipper. Great, good for them. but I don't feel enough of an affinity or a pull or anything to the brand that would lend itself. I'm sorry, 7,000 for an apple leather jacket. What's it got going on? I bet, I'm not even going to look, I bet it's like a zip-up jacket and it's just got a an embossed Miu Miu in the corner. Okay, not quite. Not quite. It does look like the same leather of a sort of leather sofa that's been worn. Yeah, I'm alright actually. Do you want to know what else was 7,000? Was the like really voluminous Loewe leather like little bomber jacket that they came out with. If I've got 7,000 and I'm spending it on a leather jacket, Loewe, I don't, but you know, it's just, I struggle with it a bit, I think. Do you want to know what though? I think I've aged out. I think that's what it is. I've heard that Miu Miu is very big for the Gen Z girlies who are into luxury. So good for them. I will also say, while we're here, Prada, and I know that this is a little bit blasphemous because in fashion circles, Miu Prada is like, she's sat on the throne. It's not for me. No. Prada to me is just like really nice branded basics. I said it. I love the nylon. Once again, am I immune to like a nylon jacket with a Prada triangle on it or like a denim thing? Of course not. Yes, I would like it, but let's not pretend that it's more than what it is. And yes, there are runway pieces that are wildly creative and all of that. That's not the stuff I'm seeing. So I would also like to maybe raise a point that a lot of recent bag releases are copy and paste from other brands. I know that this isn't the first time a luxury brand has like, oh, you know, seen another luxury brand do an interesting style and been like, and us too. But you've got their version of the Margot, you've got their version of the Lindy, you've got their version of the Celine Rome. I mean, what next? You know, I mean, I do like their varsity jackets they've just come out with, so there's that. Okay, let's switch gears. Let's be a bit happier. I love Pharrell at Louis Vuitton, and I know that this was a controversial choice, a choice that I too sat here and was like, I don't know if this is going to work. They are insanely large shoes to fill. Virgil's shoes, R.I.P. And what he brought was a level of creativity that cannot be replicated. Okay, so we were never going to get another Virgil. Why? But Virgil he was extremely creative but commercial at the same time, and just like he walked that very, very fine line so well. Pharrell is definitely much more commercial than creative, but the commercial stuff is really, oh, it's tickling my fancy. Okay, we don't need to sit here and talk about the absolute love of my life that more than so happy I got. Louis Vuitton men's continues to be the better of the two in terms of clothing, and to be honest, bag designs half the time, right? Louis Vuitton men's just, there's a wearability of it. Why am I now interested in a beige worker jacket that has a Louis Vuitton jacquard in it? Just like that, like, I don't know, but the cut of the shoulders is phenomenal. The Tyler, the Creator collaboration was excellent. Like, the pieces, I know that the denim went crazy and like sold out. It was fun. I think it was a really, really good match. And whilst we don't know, there were loads of other names floating around with like who was gonna have the role. And we don't know if those names would have been better at it. But all I'm saying is that I'm happy with what we've got going on at Louis Vuitton men's now. And do you want to know what, actually? Shout out to the men's design team, because that's really who's doing the most of this work. I don't know the ins and outs of how much and how hands-on Pharrell is on the creative direction or whatever, but what I do know is that the design team are killing it. The men's design team, my compliments to the chef. Chrome Hearts is one of the last real luxury brands. I do have some other brands that sort of like fit into this, right? But there are a handful of brands that are very good at protecting what they are. And this is the protection is the big sort of like thread that runs through all of these. So the other brands in this bucket I would say are Hermes, Schiaparelli and Vivienne Westwood. All of these brands stay extremely true to their like values as a brand and what makes them special. So why I came up with Chrome Hearts was, and although they are very sort of like trendy at the moment. There's a certain, like, if you're like a hype beastie sort of person, then you foam at the mouth for chrome hearts sort of thing. But they are very secure in who they are. They are very secure in the designs that they make. And they do have the demand to be more commercial / mass market, as in like to pump out more quantities and to make more money. And they don't. And they do that on purpose. They have this vibe that it is quite easy to fall into the like, oh, I do just want to be a part of it a little bit. But the other thing that I like about them is that, especially like, I did a whole video breaking down chrome hearts, but they have like merch, and then they have sort of like their clothing that has silver details. I love the fact that the buttons on a little crop top or whatever it is are solid silver, you know, just like those little things. They have a very good knack for making very everyday things very luxury. Like their nail polish, the cap on it is silver. You can get a silver toilet plunger, an entirely silver stapler. Like, they lean into exactly what they are, and I like that. That's the same thing with Hermes. Hermes is not trying to be anything else. They know exactly what they are. It works, and people want to play the Hermes game. Vivienne Westwood will always be that sort of like Victoriana, pirate-inspired, very big on ethics. They're not willing to bend for it, and that's what makes them special. Schiaparelli is fashion. Like, you look at the shows and you're like, oh, it's glorious. It's a painting come to life. It's like, and Daniel Roseberry is an absolute mastermind for it, but they keep everything very, you know, you have to book an appointment to, and I know that in the US they're a little bit more in, like, you know, they're in Neiman's in Dallas, they're in Neiman's in LA, and they're at Bergdorf in New York, and they're at Harrods in London as well. They're a little bit more accessible, but they've cultivated this vibe of what the brand is, and for me, my interpretation of it is that it is art, right? And so you want to like buy it and be a part of it or whatever. I don't know, maybe I'm justifying my my unhealthy relationship with luxury fashion, but here we are. But the running thread of all of these companies that I've just talked to you about is that they're privately owned. They have complete control over how much exposure they have, or how, you know, sort of closed and secret and protected they want it to be, how many quantities they're producing of something. I admire them for it, and because of that, a lot of these can feel like that true luxury. Balmain is underrated. Cast your minds back. I remember being maybe like a late teens, early 20s, and my gosh, did I want a pair of Balmain jeans. They were cool. They were like these moto jeans with the stitching at the knees and all of that. I remember my mum had a pair, and then in real life, they actually sort of didn't really make sense because you had to be a very specific height. Otherwise, the knees would be too high or too low or whatever else. But I remember thinking they were very cool anyway. The rise of the Balmain blazer. Okay, this was the ready-to-wear item. The Balmain army. It felt a lot more spoken about than it is now, and I think that Balmain still has a lot of magic that some of the other brands don't have so much at the moment. I think that they are one of the few brands that haven't sort of bent to the quiet luxury of it all. The bags and shoes can maybe not be focused on so much, but the ready-to-wear is their superpower. The way that the pieces are constructed, the way that I talk about it, the way that they make you feel when you put it on, the fabrics used, the flow. If you look at a runway, right, whether you like the designs or not, you can see that these are like really well made and the embellishment is there, and again, it's the fun of fashion that I think is a very core thread that runs through the brand that they haven't sort of gotten rid of, but I think that people have not placed a lot of attention on them, and Balmain is really sodding good. Olivier is extremely talented, especially for like the age that he started and all of that. It's kind of crazy. Also, I think a lot of the brands that get the most attention at the moment, it's because of a level of like shock factor or weirdness that I don't think Balmain has. right, or pushes or does anything to sort of feed into that, which is maybe why we are not just like talking about them more that we are. More than we are, Cassie. So, and I don't think that they're particularly failing, right? I'm just saying that, you know, when was the last time you really heard about Balmain being talked about? Let me know what are your unpopular luxury fashion opinions. I've got more within me, but I thought let's nip it in the bud for now. I'm going to leave a link to another video over here in case you haven't already seen it. Have an amazing morning, afternoon, or evening wherever you are. And in the words of my father,
if you've enjoyed it, tell your friends. If you haven't, keep your mouth shut.
I'll see you in my next video. Mwah. Bye, guys.